Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen travels to China to discuss the global financial markets. Is there going to be a lawsuit filed by Twitter against Meta for its creation of threads? And the last thing that we're going to go over is Binance currently has Bitcoin trading at a 10% discount or roughly $3,000 compared to other exchanges. Make sure you guys tune in all the way to the end of this video to find out all the details. Hey guys, it's Ryan with Big Dog Investing. Thank you guys for tuning into my channel. If you guys could do a couple of things for me, if you guys can go ahead and like, comment, subscribe to my channel if you guys have not done so already. Click the bell notification down below so YouTube can send you guys notifications whenever I release videos. Watch my videos all the way to the end. If you guys could share my videos and share my channel with anyone. I'm trying to grow my channel as much as I can, and I definitely need your guys' help in doing so. Getting started, today's gonna be Monday, July 10th. The total market cap for all cryptocurrencies right now is $1.19 trillion. This is a 1.34% increase on the day today. So roughly we were where we were with the last video about 5 days ago. Price action went down over the past 5 days, and we just went back up today. On the fear and greed index, we're at a 56, so we're neutral. Last video we were at a 65, so we were in the green greed section back then. Bitcoin right now is currently trading at $30,505. Ethereum $1,879, and XRP right now at 47.68 cents. Now XRP did jump up to 48 cents today, so that was very nice. Had a nice gain and then currently just dropped back off. Getting into our biggest gainers and losers, Mina is going to be our biggest gainer, up 15.7%. Matic's going to be up 9.4%, and Comp's going to be up 8.9%. Biggest losers on the day today: XRD down 3%, XDC, which is a shame, but it's down 1.9%, and XEC is going to be down 1.4%. Getting into our Watcher Guru news, spot Bitcoin ETFs are unlikely to have a significant impact on crypto, JP Morgan says. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. came out and owns up to $250,000 worth of Bitcoin, according to his financial records. To buy Bitcoin back in 2010, it was kind of crazy. You had to use coinpal.com. And what you would do is you'd have to put in your PayPal email address, confirm it, how much Bitcoin you wanted, and then your Bitcoin address, and then your PayPal account would get charged, and then your Bitcoin would get sent over to your address, which was kind of interesting. This is why a lot of people didn't actually have or trust cryptocurrency back in the day. It was really complicated to get, and a lot of people didn't really trust a lot of these just minor exchanges. And again, Bitcoin again was 30 cents per coin. Now it's over $30,000 per coin. So if you guys were lucky to get back in the day Bitcoin, you guys would be up drastic if you guys had it. BRICS versus G7, GDP, purchasing power, polarity. We're going to see what happens as this keeps on going. It's going to keep on showing that we're going to meet in the middle, and eventually BRICS is going to take over. They're saying by 2070 that the U.S. is going to be number 3 in total markets. China is going to be number 1. India will be number 2, and the United States will be number 3. In my opinion, anything can happen from now till 2070. That's so much time. Bitcoin has a larger market cap than Bank of America and Bank of China combined. India to overtake US as world's second largest economy by 2075. Okay, so I was off by 5 years. Goldman Sachs says. But in my opinion, anything can happen from now till 2075. Again, there's not going to be a huge thing. I don't see them actually becoming the world's second largest economy. 820 billion standard chartered banks predicts Bitcoin will reach 120,000 by the end of 2024. Now, I don't agree with this. I mean, there's going to be speculation from several different agencies or banks and institutions, stuff like that, predicting where cryptocurrency will be. Until there is regulatory clarity in the United States, none of this can actually happen, in my opinion. Again, no financial advice, but we'll see what happens. Former SEC chair says spot Bitcoin ETF should be approved. There's a little video here, and I have one towards the end of this video that if you guys wanted a little in-depth video, again, everything's going to be down in the comments for you guys to view. But it's funny how he says all of this, but he could have approved all of this while he was at the SEC. Moving on, though. Biden's Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen completely embarrasses the United States as she bows multiple times to Chinese economy Caesar and calls him the wrong name. So we'll just watch the video, and it's just multiple bows. I don't understand why she was doing that. I know their culture, one bow would have been appropriate. The multiple, in my opinion, was just like, I don't even know what I'm doing right now. Right here, though, after Janet Yellen said in China that she wants China to play fair, how can the White House make a country that engages in IP theft, forced child labor, and hacking to play by a fair set of rules? The press secretary says it's important to continue to have these conversations. Again, just has no clue what's going on, can't even answer the questions that are going on. And then in this video, again, it'll be down in the comments. I don't want to play a 2 minute and 34-second video for you guys, but Janet Yellen was asked several questions about China becoming a part of BRICS and using the gold back digital currency. And basically, she was talking about how they want to talk and come together and they'll have two separate world reserve currencies. And that if China does get sanctioned or any other country gets sanctioned, that currently has the US dollar as their world reserve currency that they actually use, it will actually hurt that country. So it actually deters them from using the US dollar. So she's basically saying that the US dollar should not be used as sanctioned power. Otherwise, we will, as the United States, will lose the US dollar dominance as the world reserve currency. Now, this was really interesting. Mario Nafal comes out and says the US to send cluster munitions to Ukraine, violating international law, and NATO opposes it. Um, there's a bunch of videos. We'll just watch this one really quick. It's 7 seconds long of you guys showing me what these cluster munitions are. So, missile, and then inside the missile are tens or hundreds of these small cluster missiles. And when the big missile opens up, it's like a capsule, and all those small missiles fall and hit the ground, and they cluster out and they explode. The big issue with these missiles is a lot of them don't actually explode on impact, so they have a lot of citizens that'll find them, play with them, not even know what they are, especially children. And then if they hit it against a hard surface or it actually just fires off automatically, what is going to happen is those individuals are unfortunately not going to make it. So NATO actually banned these; they're not supposed to be used. And what was really interesting is the last press secretary, Jen Psaki, she came out and said that this is actually an act of terrorism and we should not be using this. And now we're supplying Ukraine with it to use this against Russia. So, in my opinion, this is an escalation of ammunition being sent. Obviously, we have no bearings or no real reason to be in Ukraine right now, and we shouldn't be helping them, in my opinion. But we are because it's a money game. And now we're sending over acts of war, of international law right now to Ukraine against Russia, who doesn't really like us to begin with, and who's a superpower with China. Now, Pfizer has lost a UK court case over misleading info about COVID vaccine safety. They lost this. There's no money being yet to determine how much Pfizer might be fined with this, but more information is coming out about the COVID vaccines, and hopefully we'll see some reparations come out from this. Wall Street Silver comes out and says, with the increased mortgage rates from a 3% to over 7%, a $400,000 house will now cost you guys over $1 million. So in 2021, when the interest rate was less than 3% at 2.96, your loan amount was $399,000, and the total cost over your 30-year period was $604,180. So in total, you pay $204,000 worth of interest. So obviously, the banks make their money here. But currently, interest rates are 7.7%. So if you guys buy a house right now, which I'm currently trying to do, a $399,999 house is going to totally cost you $1,027,529 over your 30-year fixed loan, which means you're going to pay more in interest than your total house by 157%. So you're going to pay $627,530 for the same house that you could have bought 2 years ago for the same, interest rate. But obviously, we keep seeing the interest rates fluctuating, and now they're increasing exponentially. We're going to see what happens. Look out for the next FOMC meetings, because we're probably going to see the Fed raise those interest rates. They talked about, Jerome Powell came out and said that they're going to raise the interest rates probably 2 more times before this year's over. So that's really interesting that might play out. And that's obviously going to hurt the middle class the most. It says, turns out Meta was hiring dozens of former Twitter employees who had work phones and docs at the company so that they could create a Twitter clone in the past months. Now Elon Musk is getting ready to sue them for violating intellectual property and trade secret laws. So obviously they have non-competes. We'll see what happens with those non-competes. Meta's half-baked Twitter copycat thread, or a blessing in disguise. Zuckerberg's Twitter clone is riding on Instagram to attract downloads. But what was really interesting, though, if you guys don't know this already, Threads was actually the fastest growing social media platform. Currently has over 100 million subscribers right now, or accounts created. So they actually even beat ChatGPT for the fastest growing as of today. So that was really interesting, but I do see that they actually violated those. We'll see if the lawsuit comes out of it. Republicans are asking the SEC and the DOJ to probe Prometheum's business dealings. If you guys have been watching anything in crypto or even my channel, we've talked about Prometheum. They're actually the only company right now that's actually operating a broker-dealer license to sell unregistered and registered securities. We'll see what happens. They were the only ones, again, to get proved by the SEC. Former SEC Chair Jay Clayton and former CFTC Chairman Tim Mask on a path forward for regulating crypto. They say enforcement actions, which is currently what the SEC is doing, in themselves are unlikely to bring a significant improvement in investor protection and market integrity quickly. So we'll see what happens. I told you guys, here's that video that if you guys want to watch it, it's a longer one on crypto regulations. Linda P. Jones comes out. This is all where our Ripple segment right here. We're going to be pro Ripple and pro XRP. Bank of America sees Ripple and XRP's potential in payments. You bet they do. Bank of America is an important partner of Ripple's. I'm reminded that previously Warren Buffett divested Berkshire Hathaway's portfolio from most bank stocks except Bank of America. So they kept Bank of America. Well, why? Speculation is obviously their potential to keep on growing, and obviously the XRP token in their partnership is going to be beneficial. Jeremy Hogan, we talked about tokenizing assets and tokenizing homes with Ripple and the XRP token. A local realtor reached out to me last week with an idea to tokenize a property. I explained to her some of the regulatory hurdles to overcome and how much it would cost. She decided not to move forward. This is why we need new rules. In short, the current structure favors large projects backed by big money who can afford $100,000 in legal fees without blinking an eye. It's always the small guy or girl who gets left out. The problem is something is working on fixing. So we'll see if the SEC actually figures it out and actually comes out with clear rules and regulations, or hopefully Congress can actually create those, because obviously we're only seeing enforcement actions. Bank of International Settlement states the most complex aspect of solving interoperability with CBDCs is having a third-party currency built to facilitate liquidity. And obviously, if you guys know anything about the XRP token, that's what it is. They don't come out really and say it right now, but obviously Ripple is on with the Bank of International Settlements. Will they use the XRP token, though? That's up for debate. In my opinion, they probably will. Now, there's a bunch of rumors going around that Binance is losing a bunch of employees. A couple of employees have quit. News are speculating that it's because of the lawsuits going on with Binance versus the SEC and everything else that's been going on, and the allegations against CZ himself with defrauding investors. But he comes out and says more FUD about some departures. Yes, there is turnover at every company, but the reasons dreamed up by the news are completely wrong. As an organization that has grown from 30 to 8,000 people in 6 years, from zero to the world's largest crypto exchange in less than 5 months, from founding and held on to that position ever since, we have been able to protect ourselves and our users all the time, and we have been extremely lucky to have some of the best talent on the planet to offer. And I agree with that. I think Binance is one of the ones that are actually doing what they're supposed to be doing. If you guys disagree, put it in the comments. Now, getting in with our Binance news, though, Binance actually added XRP for its trading. So according to former CFTC chairman Tim Masad, if there are futures on the asset, it's a commodity. If there is a yield earned, it's a security. But XRP futures are now able to be on there. Joins the select BTC, ETH, and BNB group. Why XRP and why XRP just now? So we'll see what happens, but it's nice to see that Binance actually has this up. Now, Mainstream media, crypto media is dead silent on Tether depegging on Binance. This is major news. Let's not forget that the unbacked USDT, so US backed Tether, makes up 85% of Bitcoin's total volume. It essentially is the glue holding everything together. Once it falls, we will see the true catastrophe. So they're speculating that possibly Bitcoin's price action will drop drastically if Tether drops and depegs even more. First, it depegged to begin with is kind of speculative because it shouldn't do that. It's supposed to be a backed coin. We'll see what happens, though. In my opinion, this is what caused Bitcoin's price to drop. It says 8.5%. Right now, it's at a 10%, at a $3,000 discount. So if you guys look at the charts right here on Binance, $27,534 or 36. And then Bitcoin was trading at 26,970 on Binance US versus its 30,300 real price. Ethereum is $200 and lower, and USDT is 88.9 cents. So a lot of people were trying to currently get into the markets at these prices. Were they able to do that? I don't know. I had a buddy who actually doesn't live in the United States try to do this. His set is, as of right now, his trade is still pending. We'll see what happens with that. Now, with the SEC versus Coinbase, Paul Grewal, who is the chief legal officer, says after Coinbase gave notice of its intent to move to throw out their case, we contested to have a few extra days for the SEC to explain why it intends to oppose. They've now filed, and sadly, it's more of the same. We're going to get his opinion and then Meta Lawman's opinion on the same motions. So Paul Grewal says they ignore the plain requirement in the Supreme Court's holdings in Howey that decades ago that the investment contract first and foremost requires enforceable rights against an issuer. It requires more than just an investment of money. They ignore their obligation to give due regard to the public's interest and investor protection when they allowed us to list publicly over 2 years ago. They ignore the statements of their own chair a month later in testimony before Congress that there are no regulatory authorities applicable to crypto exchanges like us. They ignore the clear and unmistakable warnings of the Supreme Court just last week against regulatory overreach and major questions reserved to Congress. And the last thing it says, and it goes on, ignoring the dispositive points, but apparently we agree on one thing. Many of the ideas issued can and should be decided promptly as a matter of law. Read it for yourself. So if you guys want to, again, this will be in the comments. You guys can read the actual full length. This is just his summary. It was actually a really interesting read, and I agree with a lot of his points that the SEC kind of just beats around the bush. We've seen it in multiple cases. Library versus the SEC. If obviously I've done a lot of research on Ripple versus the SEC. That one I saw a lot more with. And then now Coinbase versus the SEC and Binance.us versus the SEC. Now, Meta Lawman's update right here. It says the SEC submitted a letter to the judge yesterday responding to Coinbase's request for permission and motion for the judgment proceedings. Here's what you should know. The SEC will not object Coinbase moving forward with the motion. This is important. While the SEC will oppose the motion, it will not try to delay consideration of the issues raised by Coinbase. This means that there is at least some hope for a prompt resolution of the case. Now, obviously, this is going to be a prompt resolution for Coinbase versus the SEC, but in Ripple versus the SEC, it's a little bit different because that lawsuit's been going on for over 2.5 years. We're going to come up on 3 years in December. The SEC's letter previews the arguments that it'll make against Coinbase. The arguments are not particularly strong. The SEC just suggests that library case somehow helps them, even though the judge did not hold the tokens traded on the secondary market as securities. The SEC relies on implicable case of the Connecticut that was brought against the issuer of a token, not against a secondary trading platform. Maybe the SEC will come up with some better case law when the full briefings occur, but this is not a signal for strength. The SEC offers no response at all to the damaging Gary Gensler testimony cited in Coinbase's letter. Obviously, they're not going to try to name anything that goes on with Gary Gensler right now. There's a lot of speculation that's going on with him because obviously, even when he was in Congress, he said that these are his opinions and not the SEC's opinions as a whole, as there are other directors of in the SEC. There's 6 of them, and he is the lead director and head, but obviously there's 5 others, so we'll see what happens. To recap, though, Gary Gensler testified in May of 2021 that the SEC did not have legal authority over crypto exchanges, and there was no regulatory framework from the SEC for crypto exchanges. The SEC also says that it will move forward to strike Coinbase's defense under the major question doctrine. This motion is very unlikely to succeed. In my view, that the Coinbase will eventually prevail on the MQD argument, either at the district level or on a appeal. A briefing schedule for Coinbase motion for judgment of the proceedings should be established at a pre-motion conference set for July 13th. Bottom line, so far, Coinbase's strategy to accelerate the case appears to be working, and I agree with that. For those of you guys that don't know, the SEC had some updates. If you guys wanted to put some input in on crypto rules and regulations, you could have. Hedera put in theirs, so if you guys want to read their full response, you guys can. But partly they say, we strongly believe the proposed amend exchange rules 3B-16/A to include without the definition of exchange a group of persons that makes available communications protocols will have the unintended negative consequences for the development of the DLT industry in the US and will eventually run counter to the SEC's goals for the new rule by implying that validator node operations should be regulated as an exchange operators. You guys can read it in full right here, though, but this is really nice for Hedera to come out. And then we talked about how Hedera reached 13 trillion transactions. Only time's going to tell when they reach 14 trillion. They have not yet. The last couple of things that we're going to touch on is there's people that are trying to email, message, send letters to Judge Torres on why she hasn't made her rulings. John Deaton has tried to squash this and says, please do not contact the judge or anyone else associated with the case. No good can come from it, and I agree with this. Obviously, that they're trying to figure out what they're going to do. She obviously has a huge caseload as well. So do not contact the judge about anything that's been going on with the case. And if you guys want to, there's a Google form right now. John Deaton posted. It says Coinbase customers potential amicus is at 2,500. So if you guys sign up and you guys agree that the SEC, the Securities Exchange Commission, has devalued you or your crypto, you might be able to receive a $2,500 settlement if the amicus brief goes through and it succeeds in the courts. So if you guys want to sign up, you guys would click the bottom right here, use the Google form, and it's all the way. You guys can scroll down and it's right here. You guys can put in your information for Coinbase and Binance. So $2,500 potential for Coinbase, maybe a potential for Binance. It's no money transfers right now or no money amount yet to be stated. But if you guys want some little extra money in your pocket, and if you guys agree that the SEC is doing this, and you guys really believe that the SEC has your guys' best interest, don't sign up. And also, if you guys think that Coinbase has your best interest at heart, also probably don't sign up. In my opinion, obviously, John Deaton disagrees, but I say that Coinbase has been doing this for a while now. Coinbase was the reason why the XRP token got taken off of their exchange, and there's reasons why that happened. And they didn't decide to ask or join the Ripple lawsuit until super late on. So we'll see what happens. If you guys have any other questions, put them down in the comments. Thank you guys for tuning all the way to the end of this video. And if you guys can invest with the big dog, stay on the porch. Thank you guys and have a good one.